Hey guys, Chuck Simpson. I'm sure you know that by now. I don't know why I always introduce myself, but anyway, good to have you again on the show. This week we're going to just continue to talk about reaching out to other people. I found a couple really cool poems online that were written by a couple of guys that were homeless for a while, and just tried to put down into words their experience of what it meant to them and how it felt to them. And so I'm going to be sharing those through the show. And I actually picked up a book that I actually got to meet the author. His name is Matthew Barnett. He runs the Dream Center out of LA. Just a great ministry. They feed, oh my gosh, thousands of people a day. They just take care of thousands of people that are low poverty or just, are homeless, that have nothing, and they can come freely. They can come get three meals a day. They can come get dental, medical, free of charge, clothing. They can come get help with drug addictions, sexual addictions, anything that they're struggling with. They have a ministry that can reach out and help them, no questions asked, no monetary payment, which is just really crazy cool. Because if you ever get a chance to read Matthew Barnett's story, it's just amazing. He basically took over this old hospital, which was being used to film a movie at the time, and him and his dad were just driving by, and he said, I just feel like God is just telling me that this is the building that I'm just gonna start this Dream Center in, because they had been looking for a while, and at the time it was being filmed by a movie, and at the time it was owned by, I don't know if it was a convent or if a religious organization owned it at the time, and they were basically getting ready to sell this building to the movie studio. And Matthew Barnett and his father went in one day and just sat down and just expressed their heart and their desire of what they wanted to do with the building. And the organization ended up selling them to them for basically next to nothing. And so they were able to just raise up funds and people, and they went in and they just transformed this old hospital into just to a ministry center where people can come. Like I said, they can come 24 hours a day to get a need met, and they go out and they scour LA, and they scour, just the counties around there to just find people and bring them in and to bless them and to raise them up. And it's just the stories that I've heard that have come out of there have just been phenomenal and just life-changing. It's not, they just haven't blessed them in the moment that they were there at the Dream Center, but they gave them the tools to continue walking and growing and being prosperous in life, and just reaching out and giving them the tools and the skills to succeed in life. Jesus says, it's easy for us to just give somebody a fish and they'll eat for one day. But if we teach them how to fish, then we teach them how to live for a lifetime and to be fed for a lifetime. And that's what the Dream Center does. And it's really exciting and cool. And I see you at home doing that. And I see you at home doing the exact same thing. I see them going out, scouring, looking for needs, looking for just hearts that need help. And I was talking to Melanie yesterday, and it was such a great conversation about, we always keep the car running. Somebody wants to go to a treatment center or needs a ride somewhere, the car is always running. And that was just so profound to me. That just spoke so deeply to me that the car is always running, warmed up, ready to go. And that's the way we should be in our lives. We should be warmed up, ready to go when someone presents a need. Do you need this? Let's go. Do you need that? Let's go. Do you need that? Let's go. And be able to, and not only for us to be able to call on our other friends and Christian brothers and sisters and say, hey, I got a need, can you help me out? And for them to be able to say, absolutely, I'll be right there. And unfortunately, especially with homelessness, with what I was talking with Melanie about, it's probably one of the most swept under the rug issues that are out there, because everybody has these excuses for them, or they say, if they could only do this, or if they hadn't have done this, or if they hadn't, you know, if they hadn't have made bad choices in their life. And yes, you know, there are choices that are made, but a lot there are. I just wish I could just tell you how many homeless people are just struggling with so many mental illnesses and addictions and all this stuff. And I, you know, none of them grew up saying, you know, I want to make homelessness a career. That's what I want to do with my life. And it's just so hard when I hear people say, you know, oh, if they just would do this, but how do you know they haven't done that? How do you know they didn't have a successful job somewhere? Or how do you know that they weren't diagnosed with just a crazy illness that, you know, the medical bills just got too much and there was nobody there to help them? How come we can't help them before they get in the streets and in that, but yet we don't want to help them after they get in the street? It's a double-edged sword. We're cutting them both ways, and I don't get it. I don't understand that. We refuse to help them when there's a need, and then we just discard them when they succumb to that. And it's like, you know, we're setting people up for failure. And so I just why I really like all the different organizations that are out there that are feeding people, that are providing dental and medical, and Pacific Garden Mission in Chicago has been around forever, and just a great organization. They just reach out to so many people, and no questions asked. The Dream Center in LA, no questions asked. You know, they go out and like I said, they scour the bridges and the highways and the byways, and they just invite people in, and not only invite them in, but they invite them in to the presence of God, which is really ultimately what it's all about. Because when you get into the presence of God and you let God work in your life, He's going to make it better. There's nothing that God does that He's done that's made it any worse. I mean, every person that's been touched by God has been blessed and has been filled, and their cup overflowing and just abundantly. And so I'm going to share now with one of the poems that I found online, and it's just really it's just very touching, and it's just, to me, it just summarizes just, I think, what people feel that when all the hope is gone in their life, you know. And so it's goes like this. It's summer drops of autumn, leaves change and blow free. Days darken early, a shiver is all. A cold clear night, wind whistling through the trees, frost keeping me up, a shiver is all. A cold dank stairwell, one blanket not two, no pillow for my head, a shiver is all. A sweet Christmas home, cozy and warm, comfort completely, but for me, a shiver is all. And that's just profound to me, because it's just like, you know, I did, like I was telling Melanie, I volunteered for See You at Home last year, and I held signs, and I tried to raise money and awareness, and it just seemed like, you know, when I was out there, you know, I was looking into the different restaurants that were around, and just seeing people enjoying themselves while there was a need prevalently outside, and just the way that I felt so disconnected from that. And of course, you know, I had a home to go to, and a wife, and a car, and a job, and security, and all that. But even having all that, I didn't like the way that I felt. I didn't like the way that I felt disconnected from that. And so I can't even imagine what somebody who truly has nothing feels when they see life going on, and they feel life going on without them. You know, it's sad, you know, a lot of people don't know that probably 80% or more of homeless people on the streets are children under the age of 18. That's really sad, because how can you have so little hope at such a young age? You know, those are the years that you're supposed to be developing your identity and your hope, and having friends and experiences, and enjoying life, and preparing to you know, go to college and make a career and have a family, and all the things that life offers. And it's just sad that 80% or higher of all homeless people are children that have run away from abusive homes, abusive situations, you know, that got hooked up into drugs early, and just and it just saddens me to hear that, and it saddens me when people say, well, it's their fault, it's their problem. It's never. I'm a big kid guy. I love kids, and I just rebuke all that, especially with the children, because they're the ones that are hurting the most. They're the ones that are out there with nothing, and to have no hope at such a young age, and to realize that life is not going to get any better, it's very saddening to me, because life has so much more to offer. You know, there are so many opportunities out there, and so many things, but people just pass. It just seems like people, to me, just pass on depression and despair to their children, and just, you know, they take their problems out on their kids, and just, you know, and all this, and then, you know, the kids have nowhere to take it, nowhere to go, because now they're ashamed of what's going on. They internalize it. Their identity has now become an abused child, and so they have nowhere to go, and people make fun of them and mock them and tease them, and especially their friends, and it's just very saddening to see that. And that's why I'm so excited this year for at One Winter Night that there's a couple younger high school girls that really feel compelled and excited about doing this. So they're going to spend a night on the street to help raise awareness. And I was talking yesterday, I said, you know, when kids get excited about something, they'll get their friends excited about something. So let's get these guys excited about doing something outside of themselves, outside of their comfort zones, to help somebody else, because then that can spread through the whole community. That can just spread through the whole everywhere, because when you get a kid excited about something, oh my gosh, look at Facebook, oh my goodness. When somebody puts something on Facebook, it's like 1 million hits. You know what I mean? If they get people excited about what they're talking about and what they're doing, and it's just exciting to see that, because it's like, you know, it's the younger down you can get, the more established you can get, and then that will in turn breed more and more compassion and love for people and joy. There's just not a lot of love and compassion in the world anymore. And whether you're Christian or not Christian or whatever you believe, we can all agree that there's a lot of hate in the world. There's a lot of violence in the world. There's a lot of war in the world. There's a lot of abuse in the world. We see it every day. You know, you can't turn the TV on without seeing a report of this or a report of that, or this happened, or this child is suffering, or that gentleman is suffering. And what astounds me is people say, well, I don't understand why this is going on, why this is happening. And it's because a lot of people don't have hope anymore. They just come to what people think that their identity is, and that's crucial. That's crucial when you want to raise somebody up you got to change their identity. You got to change them from thinking, oh, I'm just an addict, to, you know, I'm a guy, you know, I'm a guy who has a name. I'm a girl who has a name. You know, we got to help them remember what their names are. You know, their name is not addict or junkie or abused or whatever. You know, that those things are things that have happened to them, yes, but that's not who they are. And when those things happen repeatedly over and over again, we tend to lose sight of our true identity, and we get stuck in the junk. We get stuck in well, this is all who I am. This is who God created me to be. And that's not it at all. God never created anybody to be abused. He didn't create anybody to be a junkie. He didn't create anybody to be homeless. He created everybody to have life, and to have it life abundantly. He says that over and over and over and over again in the Bible, about how he leaves the 99 to go find the one. That's what we should do. We should be leaving the 99 to go find the one that needs us, the one that needs Jesus, the one that needs help in life, in their situation. You know, go look in your neighborhoods, in your communities. You know, go to the soup kitchens. You know, go to the places where people are struggling. Just sit down with somebody and say, hey, you know what? Let's just hang out. Can I talk? You know, can we hang out? Like my friend Joe, I talk about him a lot. You know, we go do lunch every Wednesday. And it's just our time that we just sit down and talk. We don't have to talk about God all the time. We don't have to talk about anything. We just talk about, you know, everything that he likes and enjoys, and everything that I like and enjoy, you know. And He's unfortunately one of those guys that I don't understand it, and I never have understood it. He likes 3 baseball teams. How do you like 3 baseball teams? When I was growing up, my dad says you pick one team and you stick with them. And he likes the Cubs, the White Sox, and the Braves. And I'm like, really? How do you? I got a friend of mine at work, he likes 9 college football teams. I'm like, well, that makes it easy. I mean, one of them's bound to have a good year. You know what I mean? Well, us Cub fans, you know, we're loyal and we stick to it through thick and thin. But at least we have one team that we stand by. So I always tease Joe. I said, okay, now during lunch, you can only be a Cubs fan. So I'll ask him during lunch, say, hey, who's your favorite team? Cubs. And then we'll get done doing lunch, and we'll be outside walking, and I'll say, who's your favorite team? And he said, Cubs, White Sox, Braves. I said, okay, I got you. You'll be buying next week. But anyway, but you see, you just have a conversation. You have a relationship with people. That's what Jesus was about. Jesus was about having a relationship with people. He said, follow me. Come follow me. Learn from me. Let me teach you. Let me help you. Let me heal you. You know, and like we were talking yesterday, you know, Jesus never ever, before he healed anybody, said, hey, before we do this, we got to get all this other stuff, clutter, taken care of. He never said that. He just said, I want to take care of you at this point forward. And I think if we can get people's mindset about that, about this issue of homelessness, I think we can just change so many things. We can stomp this out. We can just be a nation and a world that is open-handed, you know, and open-armed to people that are struggling and saying, well, too bad for them, you know, because I just think, what if that happened to us? You know, what if we were in that situation and we lost everything that we had and we were left with a backpack full of whatnots, you know? And would we want somebody to help us, or would we be content with the looks and the glares and the snares and the every time, you know, we have to interact with them or whatever, you know, would that be the kind of response that you would want from somebody that that was in your situation? And I'm glad and pray that those who aren't, and I'm sad for those who are. And I just think though we that have can reach out to those who have not. I truly believe that, and it's just the way I think it is, and we just need not worry about where they've been, but how we can get them to go where they should be, where God has planned for them. Because each one of us has a calling on our life. We all were created for a purpose, you know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy how, you know, it's just, like I said, it's just very tough for me to even talk about how there's so much hatred towards this issue and so much just nonchalance about it, and nobody really cares. Oh, they'll get better on their own, or they'll find something, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. But you know, why can't we help them? Why can't we partner with them? You know. And then I'm going to share another poem here that I found that really just, you know, breaks my heart, because it's really about, you know, family, and how sometimes we as family members can turn, you know, on those who are close to us, who ask for help. You know, they're like, oh, I'm not helping them. Well, I helped them last week. I'm not helping them anymore. You know, I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing. All they do is want a handout, and all they do is this, and all they do is that, and all they do is this, and that's not what Jesus calls us to be. And so this one is, it is the coldest night of the year. I am in the foyer of my family's house waiting. They are talking, but I cannot make out what they are saying. I want to leave so badly. I think they want me to go. I can't decide. It is so cold outdoors, and I am hungry and tired. What is taking so long? Please, someone, tell them soon. Just give me a corner. I can sleep on the floor. I am your brother. I am your daughter. I just got lost. Please don't pass me by. I just got lost. It's powerful. That's powerful words right there. That comes from a heart of struggle, but a heart of what is left. You know, what is left? If my own family doesn't won't accept me in, what is left? And I just implore you, if you know somebody in your family that is struggling with poverty or is close to losing everything, reach out to them. Let them know that you're there. Let them know that we're going to get through this together. We're family. I mean, my goodness, family is family, and we're supposed to be as close as family, and that's why God created us with such an emotional bond with each other and such an emotional tie. It's just crazy. I just hear of all the stories of people who have gone out and rescued so many people and just have transformed their lives, but just by a simple act. By just a simple act of reaching out. It doesn't have to be profound. It doesn't have to be earth-shaking. We're not in this to make a name for ourselves. We're in this to help somebody who is nameless, help them get a name for themselves, and to get back on the track of life, and to get back, just give them some love and some hope in their life. It's just crazy how much just a little bit of love and a little bit of hope will go so far in somebody's life that for so long has had nothing. I think of my friend Russell, and I'm sure there are probably a lot of people around there knew who he was. He would hang out over there by Lincoln Square all the time, and he was just Russell. I mean, and I would just hear people how they would mock him and make fun of him and just talk to him and talk about him and just tease him, but nobody really knows his backstory. Nobody knows that he was a Vietnam vet that suffered great mental illness, and he just lived his life the way he thought he lived his life, and people just ridiculed him for that and made fun of him and just jeered him, and it's just sad to see that. It's just sad to see, when we're just called to love. God says God is love, and if we are to imitate God, then we have to imitate love. We can't imitate judgment or hatred and it's really funny because it says in the Bible, it says, God clearly says, if you love me but hate your brother, then you do not have the love in you. And back in the Greek version, when Paul was writing it, hate didn't mean hate the way it means today. Hate back then meant just to be indifferent to somebody, to not care about somebody. That's what hate meant. Because we could say, a lot of people say to me, well, I don't hate anybody. I said, but do you care about them? Do you care for their needs? Do you care that their needs are met? Well, but I don't hate them. Well, in the original context of what Paul was writing in the day, that it totally means something different than what we mean today. God wants us to care about the needs of everyone that we're in contact with, everyone that we will be in contact. It's a moment. It's a moment for us to show God. It's not a moment for us to decide whether we're going to show God in that life, in that moment. It's a moment where we can say, Lord, I'm here, they're here, show me what you want me to do. Like I was talking yesterday, I feel the call on my life is to reach out to the least of those and to help them, especially the young ones. And so I feel like, I don't have to, every time I get into a situation with somebody, I don't have to say, oh, hold on a second. Let me pray. Lord, do you want me to help this person today? And sit back and wait. I absolutely know what the calling on my life. I feel once God's put a calling on your life, then that's what you walk it out. When Paul was converted and he was made Paul and he was sent on his journey, I don't think he woke up every day and he said, okay, Lord, do you still want me to minister for you today? Do you still want me to travel and spread the word? He knew every morning when he woke up what his calling was. And that's what I feel like my calling is to reach those that are in struggles and need help. And so I feel like that's just what, we all are called to do. And so I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be in front of the camera to be able to talk to you guys. I love that UPTV does this. It's such a great outreach for these guys. I love the guys that help tape every Saturday. I'm thankful for them, that their hearts are for this, and just being able to put this kind of message and all kinds of message on TV. It's just great. And so as you're watching this, in One Winter Night is definitely an area where we can volunteer and connect with people and raise awareness of funds. But but we can do it every day of the year. You know, every moment that we come in contact with people. Like I said, with my job, it's cool because I get to come in contact with people, a lot of people during the day, and see where they're at, and be a part of their moments, whether they're joyous or sad or just struggles or whatever, and just to be able to just try to bring some kind of joy into their life, into their hearts. And I've just seen so many people's lives and hearts and attitudes just change because of a moment, because of a touch, because of a word, because of an honest yearning to see somebody's life be better. Because I know where I was at, and I know how God has made my life better, spiritually more than physically, because the physical is great, but the spiritual, when God makes your life better spiritually, and your soul is healed, and your heart is healed, and your mind is healed, it's just a great thing. And you just want to share that with so many other people, and just walk alongside them and love them and say, man, I love you, brother. I love you, sister. I may have just met you, but I love you like a brother, and I love you like a sister, and we're going to get this done, and we're going to move on, and we're going to work through this, and we're going to get you better, and we're going to get you out of this, and God is just going to move in a great way, in a powerful and mighty way. And so with that, I'm just going to close with that today. I'd like to just just send this out with a quick prayer, and then I'd just like for you to keep those lifted up that are going to spend the night on Friday night, that the weather's great, that the hearts will be open, that there will be a unity in the community about it, that people will raise up now that are just maybe you're on the fence about helping to volunteer or whatever. Just prayerfully, just let God work on your heart to be part of that. So we're just going to close it with a quick prayer, and then we're just going to just go out and just be joyous to everyone. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time that we can come together, that we can just set aside our needs for a while, and just to realize that the harvest field is so great, Lord, that, and the workers are so few, God, and that we just pray and just bless those that are out there working, Lord, and those that don't know how to get plugged in, Lord, let them be shown this week how they can plug in, and how they can just do it so simply by just a touch of a hand, and just a phone call, or just a visit, or just to sit down next to somebody and say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? We could talk about anything. How are you doing today? Because a lot of people don't even ask how they're doing anymore, and that could just open up so much healing and restoration. That question is, how are you doing? And so, Lord, just place that on our hearts, place that on our minds, and we just thank you so much for this opportunity to just be in your presence, God, and we just love you, and we just give you all the thanks. Amen. See you next week, guys.